out now. You guys are probably wondering what the heck is going on. Axles are gone, vertical links, upper control or upper camber arms, brakes, which I told you guys were going. Axles are going. So that's the passenger side. Everything must go. So yeah, you guys are probably, you think you know, but you probably don't actually know, because there's a few routes I could go from right here, but we'll talk about that in some upcoming videos. But I got to get the BMR cradle supports, I got to get those out, then get to the other side. Guys, I'm telling you, if you have an S550, S197, Camaro, Corvette, Hellcat, whatever you have, I have been so consistently fast in the 60 foot for an IRS car, for a heavier IRS car, with the BMR suspension. So if you guys wonder, I had the cradle lockouts, BMR handling springs in the back. I used to have the drag springs, but I got to a point where it was dropping too much in the back, so we tried to stiffen up the back. Did Viking rear shocks, vertical links, BMR upper camber arms, some bare brakes so that I could fit the 15 by 9.33 in the back. And then these are the DSS 2000 horsepower axles, which I also sold. So I'm telling you, use my code VANV39, BMRsuspension.com. They've been a huge help in getting this car to 60 foot good. My buddy Dion over there, he's helped me out a lot on some settings for the shocks, and this, we actually switched to this handling spring because, like I said, the drag springs at some point were just, they were dropping too much in the back end for the type of prep I was doing and the type of events I was doing and how much power I was throwing at it. And then I eventually added 2 spacers up top just to get the car a little taller in the rear so it wouldn't sit on the tire as much. So I'm telling you, BMR suspension will make your IRS car fast. Get some cradle lockouts so that the cradle doesn't move. Get you some springs so you have the right spring rate in the back. Pair it with some Viking Crusader shocks so you have some adjustments, so you can adjust the compression and the rebound based off the track surfaces and the conditions. Get you some vertical links, get you some upper camber arms so you can get a nice zero camber with the 15 by 9.33 wheels. Get you some good axles, and you can definitely go really fast, really consistently in these IRS cars. So I gotta get back to work. Telling you guys, I have lost my damn mind. So, got all this stuff ready to go. Driver and passenger side are out. Axles, brakes, suspension. And then, you guys will have already seen that video, but the Turbo 400 and all that stuff's gonna get shipped out. Like I said, you guys will have already seen that in a previous video, but Turbo 400 is gone. Converter, drive shaft, shifter, dipstick, pretty much everything. Complete Turbo 400 conversion kit for an S550. Yeah, we're making some moves here. This thing is literally about to be a roller, but it's not technically a roller because, well, the back doesn't roll. It's got no wheels in the back, but it's got wheels in the front. We are keeping the front wheels for now, I guess. I'm telling you, I've lost my damn mind. All right, guys, I know it's been a while since I updated you on the Tang Sang, but Previously in this video, you saw that I was taking pretty much all the IRS suspension off of the car, and that is because I sold the back brakes, sold the axles, vertical links, upper camber arms, pretty much sold everything that has to do with suspension in the back of the car, including wheels, brakes, all that good stuff. So, like I said, there's gonna be some huge changes to the car. Some of you have already guessed them in the comments, and some of you have not. So, like I said, it's pretty much been, I think, 2 weeks since the beginning of this video. I've kind of been waiting to combine it with some other stuff, just because I've been waiting on parts, and we started making some content on Joe's Fox body because it's back, and you guys will see some really cool videos coming up on that, as he is actually headed to Dallas right now for some testing for pretty much the last race of the year. So it's pretty cool that he was able to make the last race of the year with what happened to his car. Anyways, not gonna talk too much on that, but over there in the corner, right down there, is the transmission, and so you guys will see a video on that. Like I said, pretty much this whole time I've just been waiting on parts before we can start actually wrenching on the Mustang. Everything's been taken off the Mustang that needs to be taken off, minus some few small things that I want to do, but the transmission's here. Whatever we're doing in the back is coming today, but I want to talk to you guys today about the engine. So if you guys know, last time I went out to Oklahoma, did some testing Friday night, made a couple hits off the trailer, spun the tires, finally got the car to hook on the third pass, and about the 1,000 foot, I think the upper coolant hose blew off and pressurized the system. Coolant went all over the car, whatever. So went to put the car on the trailer. It started up just fine, got on the trailer, and then pretty much I worked on it all night trying to get the hose fixed a few other things that came off, and went to come back the next morning and the car just wouldn't start. So at this point, I really didn't know what had happened. I figured the head gaskets blew, but I was hoping like a sleeve didn't crack, which the motor is sleeved and O-ringed. So I was hoping it didn't crack a sleeve, but things just happen when you're going this fast. Nothing is literally unbreakable. You can break anything, even if it's built for 2,000 horsepower, 3,000 horsepower. Stuff breaks all the time, guys. You're racing the car, that stuff's gonna happen. So go to start the car up, the car doesn't fire up, so I was hoping I didn't bend any rods or crack a sleeve. And so we got the motor out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Got the motor out, sent it off to Will, RPG Engines. He's super slammed right now. So huge thanks to any of you guys watching that have sent your engines over to him. Will's a super awesome guy. He does some really quality work. And he was able to get my motor torn down, and so I do have an answer for you guys. So we did end up frying the head gaskets. We torched the block and head in one spot, so that essentially, there's just like a little hole that was in there, it got torched, and so he welded that up. It's already welded, grinded out smooth, but I'm gonna upgrade some stuff while we're there, so the engine won't be back for probably another 2 to 3 weeks, possibly 4 weeks, but the diagnosis is really good. So we don't know how it torched the gasket, but my thinking is, and I told Lund about this, ever since I put the built engine in, I had some cooling issues, and I have overheated the car a few times. There's a couple logs I have on the car where it's like 230, 240 degrees. So there was some times where I overheated the car, but nothing ever happened after that, so I didn't think too much of it, kind of just kept adding water, and I just knew that I had prematurely worn the head gaskets. And so really, if you guys have been watching for a while, you knew that I was gonna rebuild the motor anyways at the end of the season, because I wanted to refresh it for next year, because I had a feeling the head gaskets were going out anyways. But I decided to take the car out one more time, and ended up blowing the head gaskets and torching the head and block. But luckily nothing else was hurt. We're gonna put new bearings in it, new piston rings, pretty much remachine everything, make sure it's all good, and reassemble it with some better gaskets. So these were Cometic gaskets, but they were not the race version. I guess they didn't have the race version out, the MLX series, for the Gen 3 until now. So we're gonna put those in it. We're gonna lock the cams. Huge thanks to Billet Pro Shop for sending those over. So we're gonna lock the cams. I did get everything in to delete the direct injection. So for all my direct injection lovers, we are deleting the direct injection if you haven't been following for a while. And then some few other small changes that I'll talk about when the engine actually gets back. But luckily I skated by, because if you look at the photos, I'm gonna post them here. If you look at the photos, it looks really bad. But luckily, it was just the head gasket. Torched the block and head a little bit. Easy weld fix. Machine it all, and it's good to go. Put some new bearings in, new rings, new head gaskets, and refreshen everything up, and she'll be good to go for another year of racing. So really, what this comes down to is next time I overheat the car or think something's wrong, I should pull the plugs, do a compression test, do a leak down, make sure everything's good before continuing to push the motor. Because if I would have done this at, say, the beginning of the summer and saw that the head gaskets were leaking a little bit, I could have easily pulled the engine, because I can pull the engine within like 2 hours on this car. Actually less than that, probably like an hour when I'm really wrenching on it. I can get the engine out pretty fast now, and so what I should have done is just pulled the engine out, put new gaskets on it, and put it back together. It would have been a pretty simple fix. But now it's not a big deal. We got to put new bearings in, new piston rings, which is what I wanted to do anyways. So it kind of worked out. But in hindsight, moving forward, if you have something, you have a feeling that you're pushing a head gasket or whatever, it's better just pull it out and swap the head gaskets so you don't ruin anything else. Luckily, I skated by. I didn't really mess up anything else too bad where it was unfixable and ended up becoming an extenuating cost, but it should be a decently cost-effective repair for what I'm doing. But yeah, in hindsight, next year, if I notice the head gaskets are pushing a little bit, I'll just pull the motor and we'll put new head gaskets in it. No big deal, instead of having to like tear the whole motor down, ship it off, get it machined, get new bearings, rings, all that, and then ship it back and end up being down for a month or 2 months instead of being down for like a day or two. So in hindsight, check your head gaskets. So luckily, we skated by. We really skated by. It was like a huge relief. Yeah, so that's the update on the motor. We're pushing like 1,400 horsepower, and we pretty much think it was 1,350 to 1,400 wheel, depending on the boost level I was running in Florida. But I pushed it pretty good in Florida, and it was hot out there. The car was running really good, though. It wasn't heating up. But previous to that, I did have some high temp days where I probably overheated the car, and it probably prematurely wore that gasket. But I did put brand new injectors in the car, brand new pumps before Oklahoma, and so that would be like the only thing I changed, although I know that the head gaskets were prematurely worn, so I don't think it was that, but I'm going to send the injectors off just to make sure everything's cleaned and good. We'll check the pumps, make sure everything's good. You just can never be too safe with these things. So everything is literally getting refreshed for next year. It's going to be a whole different car. This car is going to be insane. I'm so excited to show you guys. So in the next couple of videos, you guys will find out the transmission we got and who we ended up going with. If you guys follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you have already known. But we're going to make a huge video on that because I'm really excited to bring those guys on board. And we'll talk about the transmission deal. Like I said, the rear suspension stuff comes in today. I'll make a huge video on that, unboxing that, kind of showing you guys what I ended up going with. I'm really excited about that. And then hopefully we'll get the car over to Joe's. We'll start some fabrication work to get all the new stuff on. Some of the stuff we're going to rework in the front for the new turbo. And then hopefully at that point in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll get the engine back and we can put the engine back in, put the transmission in, and start fabbing up the actual turbo kit and get this thing back together, because we need to really be testing by late January, early February, so we're ready for TX2K, which is our next biggest race. I'm trying to think if any parts came in. I started to ship some stuff off to get coated and whatnot, so I'll show you guys that stuff when it gets back. But I just got some odds and ends in. Like, we're gonna take all the ABS brake stuff out. We're gonna do full manual brakes. So there's part of the kit from Motion Raceworks. Got some new new exhaust manifold gaskets. Got this really cool piece. I don't think I showed this to you guys yet, but this is an adapter, goes on the throttle body, and then obviously throttle body goes on the intake manifold. But this makes it so you have a nice Van clamp, really good seal on the intercooler pipe. So we got a few of those. Pretty much the whole turbo system is going to have these nice Van clamps. They're super nice. They're quick release by the push of a button, and then you just unclamp them, versus like a T-bolt, you keep tightening it. Sometimes you over tighten it, sometimes you don't tighten it enough. These, seal it, push that in, no guesswork, and they're super easy to take on and off. So pretty much those will be all over the car. This is part of the direct injection delete, so this will cover up the injector plugs. Where's the other one? There's another piece that goes for the direct injection delete. Ah, there it is. So then this piece actually sits where the pump goes. I'm going to block this hole off with a fitting, but essentially you could actually put a dome sensor on here and you can check your crankcase pressure via this if you want. So if you guys can't read that, it says for use on pro mods only. It's a joke between me and my buddy Matt. But yeah, super nice parts. These literally all came from BL Fab. So BL Fab, Billet Pro Shop, the tie shop, they're all owned by my buddy Matt, and Cy Lee helps him out with BL Fab. But my buddy Matt does all this custom machine work. It's super nice stuff. So you can check them out. Billet Pro Shop or BL Fab, they're the ones that make the single turbo kits. You can get any of that stuff on there. Blow-off valve and the wastegates came in. See, here's more of those clamps. Like I said, they're super nice. Got the Maven mount for the turbo. I am deleting the thermostat this time, so we got thermostat delete, obviously from Billet Pro Shop. And this is in for the new transmission. Had to get a new transmission mount since we're changing transmissions. It's a different mounting system, so I had to get a new bracket for that. Just trying to update you guys as much as I can. I think that's it for parts. Like I said, a bunch of parts are off right now getting coated as well. But I think that's pretty much as far as it goes for new parts. So yeah, pretty excited to take you guys along for the ride of the new Tangstang, like 7.0, I think we're at this time. I've changed this damn car up so many times. We've had like 4 turbo kits, 4 sets of wheels, so many different things. We're on like our 4th transmission, 3rd engine. It's race car stuff in a street car body. So not much is changing on the outside because I just wrapped it. I wanted to do some lightweight stuff, but I really like having like an all steel, all glass car on the outside. Eventually we'll get some carbon parts and some Lexan, but for the next year or two, I think it's definitely gonna be an all steel, all glass car on the outside. I just like the way it looks, and I like having all glass. So nothing much is really changing, like I said, on the inside or outside. This is pretty much all power and drivetrain mods this year, because that stuff's expensive. So, hope you guys enjoyed the update. Luckily, the RPG engine lives to fight another season. So huge thanks to Will RPG Engines. If you guys have an engine over there, just know that you're gonna have one of the most badass Coyotes out there. And if you're looking for a place to send your engine, make sure you send it over there. I know Will is crazy backed up, booked up right now. So if you do need an engine built, make sure you reach out to him and get on the list because they are super busy right now. Everyone's in their off season, so everyone's sending their motors in to get refreshed or to get built for next year. So yeah, pretty excited about that. We are in the engine. Also, another note, besides the changing of the head gaskets, we're gonna add a copper ring to the top of the sleeve. So that should help it seal up too. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment down below, subscribe to the channel, because we're gonna be doing some crazy stuff with this car soon. See you guys on the next one.